Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. I also wanted to come on very quickly and just have a moment of silence for September 11th and to honor those who we lost, our troops, and really giving that moment of prayer. So if we can just kind of give a moment of silence really quickly, I'd really appreciate that. Awesome. So I am absolutely praying for any of you who lost anybody 22 years ago. And even though it's a solemn day and we will never forget nor never forgive what happened there, the reason why I'm coming on and talking about the will to change is because I don't think people, well, it's not even about thinking. With change needs to come usually something very bad. And unfortunately, that's very sad to think that like it needs to get really bad for someone to change their life or their mind or what have you. And it's like days like today where, you see tragedy and, we see tragedy happen all the time, but it usually is those times when you see the will to change. And I thought about it this morning as I was, just like sipping on some coffee and water and, doing my little routine in the morning. And it really hit me like, why? This is, I guess a question for you all is, why do you need it to be so bad before you get better? Like what? I guess I don't know. Like I've gotten, there's times in my life obviously where I have gotten so bad. Like when my dad passed away when I was 25, like life was horrible, right? It was terrible. But and I think that that's why I had the mentality that I have now, which is like when I feel like I'm led to do something, I just do it. I don't think about it twice. I don't, and sometimes I do, but that's only because I get in my own way. But finding the will to change comes from confidence in yourself and in your own beliefs and not being afraid to take a chance on yourself. So the will to change is the reason why I asked that question is and make that statement is, does it really need to get so bad that you are on your deathbed or that you are so in lack and poor that you need to dig yourself even to it? Like, guys, I almost filed for bankruptcy. Like, trust me when I tell you, I have been through the ringer. People look at me all the time and they're like, you're perfect. And I'm like, I am not perfect. Or, everyone thinks you have it all together when you're like reaching those levels of success that you wish you were reaching. And it's like, that's available to all of us, but you need to believe that for yourself. And I think that that's why so many people don't make that change, is they are so terrified of what other people think, which you need to get out of. And, we can help you with that. It's literally just, you need to believe in yourself. And sometimes you just need a team. This is where I will forever think this is true. Okay. You need a team that supports you. You need a team, and everyone, trust me when I say it's not always family, right? It could be someone you meet out of sheer time and place, right? But like, you need to have people in your life that support you. A support system will take you from nothing to something very fast. You also need to realize that the will to change, it needs to come from you. It can't come from anybody else. Like, listen, I'm the catalyst for a lot of change in clients, both old and new. But this is where it's like, I'm a bit different and I don't mind being a little uncomfortable and having conflict. And I think that we've gotten into this place of like, we're so afraid to like rock the boat because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Guess what? When my feelings have been hurt the most is when I've changed. When my feelings have been, or when my comfort zone has been challenged the most is when I've literally looked at myself and gone, why does that make me so uncomfortable? And it usually makes me uncomfortable because either I don't know enough about it or I'm scared to make that change. And it's almost always the latter, right? So the will to change needs to come from you. However, it can also be catalyzed by other people. So I'm hoping, right, that this conversation will inspire you all to start taking those making those changes in your life. And a lot of it comes from here, right? Like, I don't believe a lot of people make their changes because they're surrounded by a bunch of people who make them feel less than, who make them feel like a victim. Because guess what? When you're around victim type people, when you're around negative people, when you're around people who are scared of life, scared of living, and all this other stuff, like, take a moment and think about this, right? Because I had to really look at this myself. When you listen to the media, when you listen to the news, whatever, it usually doesn't make you feel great, right? And people don't realize that when you are listening to something negative, it actually lowers your immune system, right? Because you get into this place of fear, of scarcity, of lack, as opposed to being in a place of abundance and in a place of feeling amazing and thriving. And you think, when you start to listen, this is why I don't really watch TV or listen to the news anymore, is because I realized and noticed in myself, again, the will to change was, I was so tired of listening to negative stuff. I was so tired of having this negativity, this like air of negativity surrounding me, when in reality, I'm like, life is so good. And people do not realize that when you actually, this is what prayer, right? This is why prayer works, is because you are putting out that energy of almost like a protective energy, not only about around you, around the people you love and our earth, right? Our earth is energetic. So if you are constantly putting out good energy and putting out good, thoughts and having those positive thoughts over negative thoughts, I mean, I say this to clients all the time. It is just as easy to have a negative thought as it is to have a positive thought. So if you are constantly thinking more positively, then you will see that difference in your life. But if you don't know how to have self-control over your thoughts, you will instantly go to the negative. And that's why, again, this is my belief. And again, you don't need to agree with me. That's okay if you don't. It's just my belief because of what I see, is that depression is a choice. And yes, there's some parts of that are toxic load. And, that's another story for another day. However, depression, anxiety, like the leading cause of depression isn't part of it is toxic, but the other part of it is that no one has taught you how to get rid of the negative thought, how to, bring out the good in you. Same thing with anxiety. Anxiety is almost always a symptom of you're thinking way too far into the future. It's one thing to think and to make goals and to have plans and things like that for the future. But you also, like how I coach, is you make the plan, okay? And then you believe it, and then you let it go. And you continue to just believe that that's going to happen, as opposed to being in this place of, because what can happen, leave me alone, as opposed to being in this place of, when a lot of people, this is what a lot of people do. They make a goal, then they obsess, shush. I don't know how to mute these things, guys. Sorry. I'm not tech savvy enough. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, there it is. When you are in something, oh my goodness. All right, here we go. Sorry, guys. I need to put this on before. There we go. Dude, I'm going to kill. I hate. There we go. Hopefully that worked. No, I've lost my train of thought. Damn you. That's where I was going with it. Okay, so when you are constantly thinking negative thoughts and you're in that anxiety place, right? Anxiety is you're thinking too far into the future to the point where you can never be just content with what you have. For example, this is a great example. I had a client come in to me last week, okay? Guy who has literally been, has history of having heart attacks, all this stuff, okay? Wait for it. He came in feeling amazing, looks incredible, feels incredible. We're still working on a couple things, but that aside, he was feeling great. he had just made a sale in his business and he felt great. But then he started to go, oh, I'm getting pain right here. And then I went, wait. I'm sorry, what? I'm getting a little pain right here. And I said, okay, sit down for a second. Are you thinking about the future? He said, yeah. And I was like, what are you thinking about? He said, that wasn't enough for me. And I was like, what? Like, I'm sorry. This is part of the problem, right? I'm a businessman through and through. I'm all about, making money to help people. And, that's why we make money to better our earth, better our society, and better, in my opinion, to continue to build up our society as a whole, right? But there's also part of that, to me, comes contentment and being okay. It's like, yes, I get it. You just won and you feel good, but now you want more. And that's part of the problem, is like, why can't, and I get wanting more, and there's nothing wrong with wanting more. However, there needs to be a part of you that is like, I'm at peace with that just happened. I feel it made me, you get that feeling of feeling good, but then you need to start going, okay, because this is where I say, hi, Michelle. This is where I say, if you can't be content in that win that you just took, and you're already looking into the future, you have an issue of never being content and never being satisfied. And that's a problem, because that means that nothing will ever be good enough. Nothing will ever be satisfying to you. And again, when people talk about happiness comes from within yourself. It doesn't come from things or money or anything like that. All those things are just tools, right? So, and this goes in with like the will to change, because it comes down to happiness, right? The will to change, the will to be better, the will to get in a better space physically, mentally, spiritually, all that stuff. It comes from things being bad enough to need to make a change, right? So I personally believe that if you get all these good things happening to you, and I have to take it on like my own medicine sometimes, right? Is when you have all these good things happening for you, you need to also be like grateful and in the moment. And what almost ends up happening all the time, especially in business, is that you get that little like, ooh, that little taste of, ooh, wow, that felt good. And then you want more. And it's fine to want more, but there's also a part of you that needs to be content in, I want more, but I'm also very happy with what I am doing right now. And I think that's why a lot of people get trapped in that like rat race of, I need more. And that goes to like greed to me, right? Like, okay, like I get it. Like you want to make a certain amount of money, but like what I've always been taught is, sure, you want to make money. Why do you want to make the money though? Like where are you going to put that money? Where are you going to put that money towards giving somebody a job? Are you going to put that money towards or is it just a material thing for you, right? Like that to me, your intention with why you need that extra money or why you need that whatever is like, if you're doing it because you need to provide for your kids, sure, totally get it. If you're doing that because you want to give somebody a job, sure, totally get it. But if it's not, I just feel like it's all about intentionality, right? So if you're always just looking for more because you just want more, I mean, sure, but like, I don't know. That to me doesn't really give me much of a, like, there's no weight to that. There's no foundation to that, right? So, but the will to change, and this goes to, poor mentality and feel like when people are like, oh, I can't afford that. I'm like, why can't you afford that? That means that your priorities are misaligned. And it means that you need to start looking at like, what's important to me. And I always tell people, and it's not just because I'm in the health world, but I always tell people, you can't do anything without your health. So if you feel like crap, if you don't feel good, then you're never going to be making more income. You're never going to be able to, because you're stuck, right? So if you take your health seriously, you start to clean your body, you start to get healthier, you start to worry more about what you're putting in your body than what you're producing, you will instantly see a change because your whole world is shifting, right? On a deep quantum level, your whole world is shifting. And I've seen it in clients every week, right? They get healthier, they get stronger, they get better mentally, they get better physically, they get better spiritually, right? They get better financially. When you deal with the root problem, which is always to me health, because when you get healthier, your mind shifts to from a lack perspective to an abundant perspective, right? And I know you guys are like, well, you're saying that because you work in the health industry and blah blah blah. It's like, actually no, it's just a fact. When you feel better, you do better. When you feel good, you make more because you actually have the motivation to do that thing, right? You actually have the discipline to actually want to follow through with those things. So to me, your health is essential. To me, the will to change sometimes, and I hate to say it, but because I went through it with my situation with my dad passing away, that was my will to move into a different direction in my life, right? Like it changed that situation changed my whole life. It literally gave me a purpose. So people always say like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm also like, but that also pushed me into wanting to get to the root problem for people and wanting to help them and wanting to, like my purpose became 10 times bigger, right? And I don't like seeing people hurting, as I'm sure many of you don't like to hurt or see other people hurting either. But the problem is that like I suffer with it all the time because I'm a practitioner and I'm in that space. Is I try to push people sometimes to the point where they aren't ready to be pushed there, or sometimes I push people because I get frustrated with them, right? And I have to own that because that's my own, not insecurity, but it comes from like a deep wanting of people to change. But I can't change someone. I can wake them up to things. I can have conversations with them to make them want to change more. However, it comes from them, right? Like you will exhaust yourself, because I have done it. You will exhaust yourself trying to change other people, right? Like people say this to me all the time, especially when it comes to business. They go, you need to call people, you need to reach out to people, you need to do this, you need to do that. And the reason I don't, this is just me, okay? Everyone does their own business differently. The reason I don't reach out to people is because I believe that when you are too pressuring, when you put too much pressure on someone to change, they will almost fight back and resist you because it scares them, because they are in a place of not wanting to change or to make that change. So in reality, and I've seen it work, is when I just go, okay, I'm good. I'm helping the people that want help. And that's all I can ask for and all I can do. When I start to put out that pressure on myself, and this is me owning it because it's happened to me within the last week where I'm like, I need to do more. I need to reach more people. I need to help more people. That's great. And I have that intention and I want to do that and I will. However, that's a goal now, right? That's out there. And now I need to just let it happen. Now I need to sit back and watch it happen, as opposed to grinding it out, trying to force it, trying to, like there's aspects to grinding. There's aspects to like, putting your 2 feet on the pavement and pounding the pavement. There's also an aspect of letting go and letting God do the work, because he knows the desire of your heart, right? So that's where I do turn to scripture, and I do turn to like, aha, I'm trying too hard, right? How many of you try too hard? How many of you are actively like, you set your mind to something, you want that thing, and then all you think about and obsess about is that thing, right? Fine, but there's also aspects of, okay, I want that to happen in my life, but now I'm going to let go and let God just do the work. Because what's going to happen is that he will either protect you from something, he'll challenge you to push you, right? Or he'll reject that, whatever that thing is. He'll put up a little bit of rejection. This is where people get hurt, is they're like, oh, I was rejected. Or you can look at it in a different way and go, oh, God was protecting me from doing that or going to that event or having that client. He was protecting me. He was protecting my business. So I always think there's a light side of things as opposed to a dark side of things. I think we choose to look at the dark because we're so conditioned to look at failure. You're so conditioned to look at the loss. I try to look at everything as the opportunity. For example, if someone leaves my business or someone leaves my life, I go, okay, I choose to go to, I wonder who's going to come in. I wonder, do I need to just challenge this person or do I need to just let go, right? And there's certain times when I feel like I need to actually just challenge someone's mindset. But then there's also times where I'm like, that's cool, because I probably feel it too, right? So, but the will to change comes from you. The will to change comes from it needing to get, and it sucks, but it's like 95, probably higher % of people, the will to change comes from literally things being so bad that you have no other option. And it's sad that we need to let it get to that point, but that is the truth, right? Like people who are trying to lose weight, like they are so terrified of letting go of their sugar addiction or their alcohol addiction or their depressing thoughts, or like they have all these addictive things in their brain they don't know how to let go of because it's become an emotional coping mechanism, right? And trust me, I've been there, right? Like I've sabotaged myself on, I'll feel great and then I'll eat something really processed, get really bloated, and then go, why did I do that? Finally, within the past month, I've gone, I'm done. I'm done feeling like this. I'm sick and tired of it. When you're sick and tired of being sick and tired is when you will change, okay? When you're tired of being poor, you will do anything to not be poor again. And that starts to come from the mindset. It comes from saying to yourself, I'm confident. I am abundant. I generate X amount of dollars that makes sense for my life, right? It's all in your wording. And I don't think people realize that enough, is that when what you speak out will become true in your life, right? It's a literal scientific fact that what you put out there, you receive, okay? I hope you understand that even though it might be hard for some of you and that it might be sad for people that you see in your life, is that you can't change people. You can have conversations and you can be the catalyst, like I am, to change. However, you cannot change anybody. It needs to come from them. So take a load off of your shoulders and literally let yourself take a deep breath and go, okay. Because actually, it's not you. It might be you. And if this message is hitting you hard, it's probably because you need to change, and this might be the message that you need to hear. But it might be another message for you to go, I am trying way too hard in business. I'm trying way too hard to make someone like me. I'm trying way too hard, whatever the case may be. You just need to go. And it's a twofold. It's either you need to let go and stop trying, or you need to make the change. You need to have the will to change. So I don't know which one of those that is for you. Maybe, again, like I said, this might be the message that you need to look in the mirror and go, what could change? What could I do to change right now? And it might be hard for a couple days or a couple weeks, but guess what? Change is never easy. And that's why like 1% of the 1% change and make the change, is because people they see the result when you start to change. They see the result as you shift. Okay. So either let go or change. Those are your two options. Okay. Start believing in yourself, because you are worth it. And you need to just know that there is solution. There is abundance. There is way more positive things happening in the world that we're seeing. And you need to I know it's hard because we're just being fed all this negative stuff all the time, but you need to put out, I believe fully that when you put out what you want, you will get that 10 times over. So just keep putting out that good mindset. Keep thinking good thoughts. Obviously we're all going to have a negative thought pop up here or there. It's about conditioning this to say, oop, stop. Nope, that's not an option anymore, right? The in between the ears, that brain in here, Hopefully you have one, right? You're welcome. That's funny. That brain you have, right, is the catalyst for change. You just need to use it. We have been so conditioned to not using our brain, to letting ourselves go into these negative places, to thinking that people are out to get us, to thinking that people are just like waiting to like hurt us in some way or what have you. That is actually on you, believe it or not. And I know that's a hard pill for some of you to swallow, but all those people that you have in your life that you are like, oh, why do I have this? Blah, blah, blah. It's on you. You're attracting that. You are bringing that into your life because you think that's what you deserve. But when you know you deserve someone consistent, when you know you deserve someone who's committed, when you know you deserve somebody who is whatever in your life, you'll get it. But you need to change first. It comes from you. Okay. Have a great Monday. Again, we remember our fallen heroes and our fallen troops and all of the families. We pray for all of them. So in Jesus' name, get out there and continue. Yes, Michelle, that thought process is so true. It took me forever. Hey, it takes everyone's on a different path, right? Everyone's on a different journey. Some people learn things faster. I always think to myself, and then I'll leave with this. I always think to myself, stop judging yourself to other people, because guess what? You will learn some things faster than others, and others will learn things faster than you. We're all being tested all the time. And I think the more people can understand that, this is where I truly believe that when we are all being, like I said, we're all being tested, right? And it's how fast you learn the lesson. It's how quickly you can hear something and let that apply to your life in a way that now you can go, oh, okay, now I get it. And then that's when you start to live in peace, because you go, I'm not going to let that affect me anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore because that's not worth it to me, right? You start to really shift and put things into like these little, not boxes, but into like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah, that's not worth it to me anymore. This is the kind of person I want to be. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you allow your body to know, like, I don't know, for me, I can tell when I want to be around someone and I can tell when I don't. So the more you just trust yourself, you'll see major things happen. Okay. So trust yourself, believe in yourself, have a great week, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.